Hey guys, it is Friday. Oh my goodness, the weeks are just literally flying by. I hope you've had a great week and jumping in with today's topic as well in how to massively increase your happiness, your health, and also your success. And when it comes to this particular thing, I think so many people are being affected by that right now simply because of the uncertainty that's actually being created. And this key distinction really comes back to, good morning, great to have you on, Christy. This key distinction really comes back to, are you living from your head? Or are you living from your heart? Now, let me break that down because when we're living from our head, a lot of energy, a lot of creative energy, a lot of our inspirational energy is getting stuck in our lower energy centers. Now, some people call them energy centers of the bodies. Other people might call them the chakra system. Lots of different things. But when we are living from the head, we're in survival a lot of the time. We're over analyzing, we're overthinking, we're trying to solve logically what's kind of going on. Now, our body, our awareness is so much more than that as well. There's so much more information that's available, both intuitively, but also when we come back to actually following our heart. A lot of the ego survival mind programs are literally hardwired into us from the conditioning and from the imprinting, both from a generational perspective, a lineage perspective, and also through epigenetics, which means that the protein codes on your DNA are coded in a particular way coming through from your epigenetics. Now, I found out a couple of kind of cool things that I want to share with you guys. This is actually how deep this actually runs. Good morning, Chris. Great to have you on. Hey, Sandra. Hey, Danielle. So lovely to see you guys on here. A really amazing thing is that if you are a woman, you will have been inside your grandmother in her womb. Now, let me just break that down because that sounds like a weird thing to say, right? This is like how much our imprinting kind of goes in and how much the body is continually adapting from an epigenetic and a genetic and a lineage, emotional, mental perspective. So we tend to pick up like a lot of the thoughts, the beliefs, the habits, the behaviors from our previous family lineage. There's all sorts of loyalty ties that are all tied into that. However, when a baby girl is about to be born, so that would have been your mother, she has fully formed eggs in her ovaries ready to go. So when she is like literally a newborn baby, she's already got all of the eggs that she will ever carry in her life already are fully formed. That means that you were an egg inside your mother's ovary, inside your grandmother when she was just about to be born. So anything that's affecting your grandmother will have immediately also impacted and imprinted on an energetic and also on a gene perspective into you as well. So kind of very amazing, mind-blowing. I was talking with my girls about it the other day and we were just like, wow, like this, it just runs so deep. And so when we think about the things that are stressing us today, some of that stuff actually may have been one of your grandparents may have felt particularly maybe are prone to anxiety. Like I know for myself, my grandparents were certainly very much in the depression years, in a lot of hardship around those particular years as well. There was also, of course, World War II. There was so much fear, so much stuff. And so a lot of that can be unconsciously triggered within us as well when we're facing other external circumstances or other external events where this is actually impacting us as well. Good morning, great to have you on, Lisa, and we've got Sandra. Thank you so much for saying hello, and Imogen, lovely to have you on as well, and Prasidi, great to have you on as well. So really, really important to always be becoming more and more consciously aware of what is the program or what is the unconscious programming perhaps that I'm actually living out that I'm not even aware of. And as Dr. Joe often says, when you're in the glass jar, we don't always know that we're in the glass jar because it's a glass jar. It's like you're stuck in the glass jar. Everybody else can see that you're in the glass jar, but because you're in the glass jar, you can't get out. You can't observe it, and you can't actually see what's on the label, right? But everybody else can kind of notice it. Most of your family and friends will go, oh yeah, you do that all the time. Whereas you're like, really? Like, I actually had no awareness. So we've all got these like blind spots as well that actually play out for us. Hey Sal, great to have you on. Hey Rod, lovely to see you on this morning. So we've all got these genetic imprinting coming through. We've all got, the protein codes in the DNA that are impacting. And so we are literally, and the other thing actually, if your mother was at all stressed while you were in her womb, and this again has been scientifically proven that your adrenal glands, when your body is forming as a newborn baby or as a fetus, your adrenal glands will adapt to the stress hormones that your mother is feeling by creating bigger adrenal glands and a bigger back brain. The back brain is all about the survival brain. Some people call that, the reptilian brain, but it's like that primal instinct to survive. So a really kind of key thing. So the body is adapting all the time to its environment. And so a lot of this stress also, the uncertainty that's actually created moving forward, puts us in a hypervigilant state, guys. It puts us in this state of perhaps low level or maybe acute stress. Sometimes it can be like chronic stress, so long-term stress, or it might be acute stress if you've been put into financial hardship through everything that's going on. But for a lot of people that, are still going okay, like financially, they might still have their jobs and things like that, but it's this chronic low-level stress that's the long-term stress that kind of feels like fear and uncertainty and everything else that actually goes on to really create a lot of inflammation in the body over the long term. So that's where that starts to really impact our health and well-being. And for anybody else that's been in perhaps a long-term stress situation, even if it's low level. So for me, even just being, a single mum, where like I'm the sole financial provider and things like that. And even though I feel like I'm in a great financial position, I feel very comfortable with where I'm at, certainly given the current circumstances. However, it's that chronic or long-term pressure that a lot of people feel over a period of time as well. And I think our lifestyle, as many people are finding out, just by slowing down has actually, or giving themselves a little bit more space or time or freedom. I know quite a few of my clients are like, oh my God, like this is amazing, like to have some time to focus on my hobbies, some time to like do some things that are creative, like some more time with my family. So embracing like a lot of those things can absolutely help and bring us back to our heart center, or what actually feels really good for us. Now, kind of looping back around to like my full thing of what I was actually saying. Good morning, Kirsty. Great to have you on. And Kelly and Rochelle, great to have you on as well. And Sal, lovely to see you on here. And Kim, we also had you popping on. Lovely to see you on here as well, honey. So looping back around to where I kind of first started, when we are stuck in that ego survival mind, our energy is also trapped in the lower three chakras. They're more ego-based, they're more survival-based energy centers within the body, because the number, like the base chakra, is all definitely about survival. The second chakra, the sacral chakra, or the second energy center, is all about relationships and tends to be like power over or power under. So that's where we can kind of get into power plays in relationships, whether that's in intimate relationship, kids, colleagues, where it feels like you're disconnected from your power. So you're trying to actually get power over another, or somebody else may be disconnected. You cannot have two people that are disconnected from their own inner power, not power over each other, but their own inner power, fully connected to their own energy, and actually sorting stuff out. It's very, very difficult. It takes one person to step out of that, recenter, reground themselves, and then to come back in and renegotiate or communicate more effectively. But quite often what's actually happening is there's these subtle energy plays that are actually happening to steal or to grab power from other, which again creates that feeling of of insecurity, or I'm not going to survive, or I'm going to be rejected, or I'm not going to fit in, or I'm not enough, or these are where some of these bigger stories kind of start to play out, because the mind's freaking out in uncertainty as well. So all the time it just wants to be certain. It wants to know that it's certain. It wants to know that it's safe. It wants to know that it's secure. It wants to know that everything's okay. But guess what? We also have a major human need, which is growth. Because if we feel like we're moving forward, and this is where a lot of people kind of get stuck, is certainly between the need for certainty and the need for growth, or the need for progression. And I'm seeing that kind of play out with a lot of people at the moment, where they feel stuck, they feel bored, they feel like it's Groundhog Day, they feel like, and clearly, you know, a lot of our external activities are no longer available for us to go out and do, so there is a loss of variety, or a loss of difference in terms of what we're experiencing in life, but people are still trying to grab onto certainty and yet feel like they're not moving forward or not progressing as well. And so this kind of, again, shuts down our energy. The third energy center is all about our own will, or our own power within ourselves as well. And so when we feel disempowered in a situation, so when we feel external authorities are saying, this is what's happening, you've got no control over your life, you just have to deal with it, that's just what's happening, then we can drop into powerlessness, which again puts us more and more into the overthinking, the overanalyzing, the trying to sort out a problem from our head, rather than coming back to our intuitive heart center and really tapping into what's right for me now. And what's actually happening when we do that is we're sending cascades of biochemicals through the body. The body becomes addicted to those stress hormones like adrenaline, norepinephrine, which is pretty much adrenaline, your longer form of adrenaline, which is cortisol. That's where we tend to put on a lot of weight around our waist or around our middle. So if we tend to be a little bit more apple shape, or you notice it's harder to lose that belly fat, it'll be from excess cortisol in your system. Now that also needs excess vitamin C in order to be able to deal with all of the inflammation that's actually being generated and created in your body. Now, short term, that's not a problem. Long term, though, because if you take it back out into nature, you know, we do need that adrenaline to escape from the tiger. Just most of us aren't running from a tiger, and it's the chronic, long-term, low-level stress that really does impact the body. And then it only takes another 1 or 2 significant events or acute stresses. So it might be a high level of stress, but for a shorter period of time. So this can be a chronic illness, or not necessarily a chronic illness, but like a sudden illness. It could be a surgery. It could be a loved one getting sick or unwell. It could be financial instability. It could be relationship instability. It could be any number of those things then actually really start to trigger that cascade again of a significant amount of cortisol and adrenaline through the system, which then impacts your sleep. And please let me know if this is resonating for you at all, or if there's any questions that you guys have around this as well, because it's critical to really understand what that stress response is and how it really starts to impact us or derail us long term. Because when you stay in that long term, now you've got your digestive system being impacted. Hey Helen, great to have you on. Hey Janine, lovely to see you on here, and other Janine as well. Lovely to have you on. And Amanda, lovely to see you on here as well this morning. And like I said, if you guys have any particular questions as well, love that that's resonating for you, Christy, because that long term creates that brain fog. It creates that inability to be able to think clearly, the inability to be able to follow through, because guess where our focus is going? Our focus is hypervigilant. So now we're focused on everything. So again, you know, like if you're finding you go to do something and you're not following through, and then you're jumping on social media, and then you're jumping on this, it is because the body and the mind is in acute stress at the actual, like at that time. And I was reading a post the other day and I thought, God, it's such a good reminder, where it's like, if you feel flaky, if you feel like you're not following through, if you feel like you're not getting progression, hey Beck, great to have you on. Glad to hear that that's really resonating. Hey Marguerite, great to have you on, darling. And Bernadette, great to have you on as well too, hun. because all of these things really, we can start to undermine, and this is what actually happens, is it starts to undermine our own level of self-confidence and self-belief, and hey, how am I going to make things happen? And again, then it perpetuates that loss of certainty, which increases the stress levels. So you guys can see how this becomes one cyclic loop that really ends up being in a very much downward spiral, because the more fearful we get, the more fear we have, the more fear is evoked in our body. And then there's this whole roll-on effect as well. 95% of serotonin is created in the digestive system. Now, when you're in acute stress, your body is not worried about digesting breakfast when it's being chased by the tiger, right? So it starts to inhibit its digestive processes. So now you're not digesting your food properly. Now that starts to impact on your digestive system. So you may find you've got reflux. You may find that, like there's other issues with your digestive system. So whether it's, needing to go to the toilet urgently and with a little warning, which otherwise can be diagnosed sometimes as IBS type symptoms. But there's like this whole other roll-on effect where like the inflammation really starts to spread through the body in quite a chronic way as well. And certainly like if you're experiencing tension in your shoulders, tension in your scalp, so it's harder or you're getting headaches, things like that, that is your body giving you massive signals, guys. Hey, it's time to get back into your heart. It's time to be creative. It's time to play. All of those things that really help to bring you back to a sense of self again. And a couple of critical kind of key distinctions around this is really, number one, create a clear plan for yourself every single week. And number two, celebrate the heck out of it. So any movement forward, because even if you are moving forward, and I had a beautiful client the other day that we were chatting, and she realized after our call, or like during our call, that she was actually really progressing, but she kind of got on the call and she felt flat, and she felt like she hadn't really got much done, and she was, just feeling like this just sense of not apathy, but maybe just like, I don't really feel like, and it's that loss of certainty as well. So the clearer you are and the more you become in control of where your focus goes, and if you have a lot of split focus going, like I said, that will be a lot of that hypervigilance of the ego survival mind. It's just kind of like if you're an injured animal out in the woods, how would you react? You'd be there and you'd be like freaking out if you didn't have the energy to move very fast, or you felt compromised in some way, shape or form. And that's what the ego is trying to do. Like, it is a brilliant mechanism to try and keep us safe. It is going to be screaming at you if you are standing on the ledge of a cliff and like thinking about jumping. It will be screaming at you, right? I'm certainly not recommending that on any level. However, in our everyday life, we must become the masters of our own ego survival mind. Being able to control your emotions regardless, and when I say control, that is not suppress, that is not push down, that's not ignore, because that will permeate through your body and create illness and disease in another way. Good morning, Tracy. Lovely to have you on. Hey, who else have I got on there? Peter and Sonia. Lovely to see you on here. And I'm going to have to put my glasses on. I'm sorry, guys. Dorika, is that how I say that? I'm hoping I'm saying that correctly. I may not be. Now my glasses are fogging up. That's really hilarious. So guys, like really, really important, like I said, your ego survival mind is here to keep you safe, yet it will not help you become a master of A, your health, B, your relationships, because it's all about wanting to protect you, and C, and so when we shut down, in relationships and we're not communicating effectively, all of those things that can really impact the level of happiness in relationship, your joy that you get to experience every day. It will keep you completely fear-based, because that's what it is. It's there to keep you safe. It's there to protect you from all of the external fears. So it has you locked in to what you're fearful of, what could go wrong, what's bad, what's horrible, what's negative. And we really have to come back, like I said, to actually embrace and master our mind, master our emotions, to be able to come back to living from the heart and stepping into those higher energy emotions like love, like empowerment, like freedom, like joy, like gratitude, appreciation. All of those things make you feel like, oh my God, my life is amazing. This is so fabulous. And from an electromagnetic perspective, so important, guys, because you are creating your reality every day through your feelings. And quantum physics has proven this again and again and again. We live in a subjective, not an objective world. We may think it's objective, but all of the quantum physics experiments prove that it is a subjective world. What we believe or what we feel that will happen. And so whatever you believe, you know whether you believe that or what you're expecting by how you feel every single day. And it's how we keep living the same life because we keep expecting the same things, therefore having the same feelings, therefore sending out that vibrational signature. And if you don't believe me that we are electrical beings, we all go in, if we've got a heart issue, and have an electrocardiograph. The heart is sending out electrical impulses. It's how our motor neurons communicate with each other, through electrical impulses. So we have an electrical energy system running through us, and that's a lot of what these chakras are about as well, is the storage units for specific emotional themes within the body. And they're all interconnected with our muscles, with our organs, in all sorts of ways. And as is the Chinese Meridian Center or system, certainly something that I've, otherwise known as acupuncture. I haven't actually studied acupuncture per se, yet I've done a lot on kinesiology, which involves understanding the chakra system, the Chinese Meridian system, all of those things. And it's how the energy actually flows through our body in a particular sequence, and what can actually block all of those sequences. And the biggest thing, like I said, is when we are in survival, your energy will be stuck in those 3 lower energy centers, which then disables like your heart energy, and your heart starts to shut down. And you'll know if this is you, if you are feeling a loss of hope, if you are feeling sad, or you're feeling grieving, or you're powerless, or feeling powerless. You're certainly not powerless, but sometimes the mind will tell us these certain things as well. So when we sorry, just one of my girls phoning me. I will phone her back after. When we come back into the heart center, now we've got energy being generated for ourselves. When we're in those lower level energies, when we're in the energy of courage and below, so anything that feels less than courage, and when I say less than, feels worse than, so that might be fear, that could be overwhelm, that could be frustration, that could be doubt, could be, stress, disappointment, discouragement, anger, rage, any of those emotions. We're actually trying to get energy. It's like what I was saying before, we're trying to get energy from other people because we've not yet we're not adding to the energy within the world. We're actually taking from energy within the world. When we come back to our heart center, when we live from that place of heart energy, and you're in any emotion that feels above courage, so anything that feels better than courage or equal to courage, so that might be curiosity, it could be excitement, it could be passion, it could be joy, it could be happiness, it could be enthusiasm, it could be like I said, even curiosity, like all of those emotions. Even boredom is quite a neutral emotion, but it's not until we start to get into the energy of courage and curiosity, that's where our heart energy starts to really open up, and now you start to move towards living a grander life. Sense of inspiration, you will get greater clarity coming through. So instead of being in our ego survival minds, now we're like getting a different inspiration where it's like, hey, you should contact this person, or hey, what about this, where different ideas start to come in and make such a difference to your life. And one of the things that I've recognized is so many people actually aren't even aware that they are in burnout, that they're suffering the consequences from living chronic low-level stress, for a long period of time. And then, like I said, it might only be just one or two of those acute stresses, like surgery, like an illness, or, loss of finances. There's just, a couple of things like that stacked together on top of long-term stress totally, absolutely annihilates your adrenals, where you move from not only just adrenal vigilance, the hypervigilance of, oh my God, what's going on? Oh, am I going to be okay? Am I going to be safe? To adrenal fatigue, which is now like, oh my God, like I'm trying to put my foot down and I just feel like I haven't got the motive. I just need to motivate myself more. I just need to be more productive. No, like you don't. You may believe that because that's what the mind's telling you and it's wanting to push you. Yet if you keep pushing through in that phase, I can promise it, without shifting anything, without shifting your mindset, without shifting your eating, without shifting some of your daily habits or your lifestyle or how you're actually driving, particularly, and when I say driving, like driving yourself or moving yourself forward, if you're doing it with your hands in your back and pushing yourself, I can promise you, you will end up in adrenal exhaustion and you will wake up so flat and so low in yourself. I don't mean to be negative, but it's just like this stuff needs to be addressed, guys. It's so important to be able to really understand what's going on for you on a physical level. And there's four different levels that need to be addressed with this, and they need to be addressed in very specific ways, and it's not a quick fix either. So really important to remember to come back to the heart center. When you are living from your heart center, it feels magical, like you're gonna feel like you have a magic wand. You're gonna feel like, holy shit, how did all that just happen so effortlessly and so easily? Because when we're actually living from the heart center, our heart is always guiding us. It knows the best pathway to take us to where it is that ultimately we want to end up, whether that is health, whether that is happiness, whether that is relationships, or whether that's all of that. And for most people that I know, and this can also be a scarcity thing too. Some people can believe, oh, I can have this or that. No, you get to have it all, and you're the one that determines that. Hey Karen, great to have you on. So it's really important to know, because once we start in that downward spiral, it's really difficult, particularly if you're not aware of quite a few things. There can be some pitfalls and obstacles around that, of how to actually bring yourself out of that by yourself, because the ego survival mind gets very loud at that point. There's lots of white noise, where it's like screaming a lot at you, and perhaps it's berating you. It's very difficult, and even after doing all of my years of training and coaching, and I've worked with over 12, maybe 1,300 people now at this point, easily worked with that amount of people. So I've seen patterns, I know this stuff inside out, and I can promise you, if I am tired and exhausted, it is really difficult for me to work on my mindset. I'll still do it because I know that that's the pathway out. However, it is very difficult, and unless you've anchored that in time and time again in order to bring yourself out. Hey Tyson, great to have you on. Then sometimes we will really get stuck in that process of that downward spiral, and it really can make a huge difference. I've known so many people suffering from symptoms of anxiety, depression, things like that, where potentially it may be that there's been other underlying things that haven't been addressed, and can end up on kind of band-aid type solutions. And it's not that I'm against Western medicine or anything else. I think everything in its right time, and yet unless you're actually looking at the underlying root causes, and that's where the biggest issue is most people are like, oh, I don't know what's wrong with me, I just don't feel good, and kind of taking like a quick fix or a magic bullet. And the problem never goes away, guys. Like, it tends to compound actually over time. And there's some really scary side effects with some of those medications as well. Like I said, it's not that I'm opposed. All I'm saying is be informed and look for other ways that you can actually really help and support yourself. And whether that's through me or whether that's through other people, take care of yourself. It's so important. We have lots of different or aspects of ourselves, so our physical self, our mental self, our emotional self, financial, spiritual, all of those aspects of ourself go together to really support our system in a really healthy, vibrant, energetic way where we feel vitally healthy and excited, and life is juicy and delicious and wonderful, and we're moving forward in a powerful way. Or we experience the opposite of that, where it's very hard to be motivated, it's very hard to get anything done, it's very difficult to focus or to concentrate on one particular thing. So there's all these different kind of aspects that play out. So if this really, really resonates with you, I am super passionate about really working with people at a deep level. It's not for everyone. It is absolutely for people that are 100% committed to this, that are decisive, and that are 100% ready to really step into this in a powerful way and really start to heal themselves and move forward in a very, very different way. And it is a long-term process. Like I said, it's not a quick fix. It's not just, take these couple of supplements and meditate half an hour a day. And it's not, again, I'm not opposed to any of that. In fact, I believe in all of that, and it's not the sum total. So there's some very, very specific key aspects around this. Hey, Drew, great to have you on, Dylan. Hey, Sarah, lovely to see you on here. So really, really powerful, guys. Stepping into this and really taking amazing care of your health, and particularly even more so if you have your own business. I can promise you, if you're burnout or you're suffering any of these things, there'll be a holdback because you'll be scared, number one, that you're going to burn out further. And number two, in my experience and in lots of my clients' experience, it doesn't feel good to be in that space. It feels incredibly overwhelming. We can end up in anger, resentment, feel like everybody's on our back, feel complete overwhelm, feel so responsible for everything and everyone, and particularly if you're employing staff at this time as well. So it's extra important to get that support to be able to move forward in a really powerful way, because when you're feeling good, you get to step in, you get to regain that confidence again and feel amazing in yourself, and really step forward in a powerful way. So I hope that that's been really supportive for you guys. For those of you that have just jumped on, you may want to jump back to the start and really keep imprinting and conditioning, and I'm doing some further study at the moment on human design, and it's just really, really powerful in so many ways, because a lot of people are very lost in terms of how to figure out what's actually right for them, and how to actually say no sometimes to things that aren't okay for them or aren't right for them. And that's where we end up committing to and I think that's where a lot of people are actually probably feeling a lot of relief right now. Hey, Anne-Marie, great to have you on. They've had that choice kind of taken away. And so part of ourselves will probably be annoyed at that, but part will actually probably be relieved as well. And so what I'm all about is designing and creating a life that's 100% all about what's right for you, and really supports you, supports your system, your physical health and well-being, which in turn goes on to absolutely support your relationships, having amazing relationships, and living a happy and fulfilling and successful life as well. So have an amazing rest of your day, guys. Loads of love to you. Like I said, if you've just jumped on, you may wish to jump back to the start. If this has resonated for you, or if you found this quite impactful, or perhaps there's somebody that you know or like or love, that you know that this could really help, if they can understand what's actually going on for them. Like I said, so many people actually aren't even aware that they're suffering from burnout, or suffering perhaps from adrenal fatigue or adrenal or just the uncertainty, the stress, the ongoing stress that's kind of going on at the moment. So definitely reach out. Let's have a conversation and see if and how I might be able to help you. And at the very least, you're going to get 100% clear on where your health is actually at right now, and what is the root cause of your health issues, which I think is really, really important to know and understand, because a lot of the things that we think are the problem aren't actually the problem. They're actually just the symptom. So have an amazing day. Loads of love to you all. Bye.